professionalinvestor.com's daily brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Frivolity. It is Tuesday, right? Tuesday, the 5th of September. Dun, dun, dun. Hope you all had a good Labor Day weekend. It was pretty quiet there through the market through the weekend. Crypto didn't really do a heck of a lot. Although I think there were a couple names that popped, so congratulations to anybody. I think there was PYR or something like that. It moved up smartly. Anyway, we'll probably get into that in a little bit. But anyway, welcome back to the Frivolity. We are sort of now back to like a professional trading environment, and actually had the privilege to spend the morning listening into Top Step TV, my old prop firm. Of course, I think I told you guys, I don't know whether I did or not, but I have actually gone ahead and started up a new trading plan for the Top Step Combine. Basically, this is everything that I teach you in the education program. So you can see what my plan looks like. And right now, I'm initially just starting with just hunting setups on crude. And I want to get comfortable in that. And I'll probably continue to take setups across the board in all of the markets that I follow. But for the Top Step guys, and I also have the Top Step spreadsheet here, all of my activity. So you can see Tuesday right out of the gate. Got up 5 a.m. is my wake up call now. Boo, it says boo, but got to be religious about this. No more screwing around. So anyway, went through the entire routine only to find that really I had no business doing anything there in the crude market this morning because it didn't meet my setup. And, in essence, in my trading plan, I'm going to specifically be trading the El Tangonator setup. And as you all know on the site, got to have location, indicator confirmation, price structure, and go. Actually, when I loaded up the charts this morning, went through my regular routine, actually had location. We had an ATR level here that was traded to first thing this morning. You can see there was a bit of back and forth. It's interesting how the market did following the European close, actually pushed to new highs. And you know how I often say that if you see a market above 2.5%, the move on the day, then that's going to start catching people's attention. So on the initial move up this morning, I was actually fully prepared to hunt a setup. But unfortunately, as you can see here, I often see this kind of pattern come in where the MACD does not make one of my pretty bearish divergences. I mean, this is kind of like just a straight ski slope divergence, and I often find that those don't work. We did have Willie Stupid. We even had a bit of an RSI div there. And then, the problem really ultimately here, especially if you're going to be trading Top Step combines and all that kind of fun stuff, was the distance of, where are we here? The distance of the actual topping pattern was 50 ticks. And there's no way in hell I'm going to take a 50 tick risk on one contract. It turns out that the idea generally worked. We banged into a 2.618, and actually, according to my trading rules, I could move my stop to scratch at that point. And you see the market came back to scratch. So a big nothing day. And then into the European close, they actually pushed it up and ran all these weak stops out. But interestingly enough, notice now we're starting to get all the divergence warnings. So actually, if I did get a nice market structure top here, and everything is in divergence, and we have Willie Stupid, actually I could justify taking a trade. The only issue is I don't really like taking trades later on in the day, but we'll see how that goes. So anyway, So FYI, full disclosure for the site. I have basically gone and if we're going to be doing this boot camp kind of program, well, it would make perfect sense that if I'm going to be teaching you how to trade, that at the very least, maybe we go through and jump through top steps, hoops and stuff, so you can see, and really what I would like the boot camp to be is kind of like, all right, well, if you're really serious about this day trading, well, this is what you got to do. So anyway, that's marching away now. As for my regular routine, of course, you can see we run a number of different portfolios and trading plans. And I think I told you recently, I was very, very pleased. I was super excited to be able to report to all of you that the computer has officially taken over the TRI-DI breadth algo trading plan for Bitcoin. And actually, we have Mr. Panicook here today, Sjord, who likes to come on the calls on Tuesday and tell us a little bit about how site development's going, what he happens to see in the market himself, and what's going on over there in Europe. So I'm sure he'll probably tell us a little bit about how that's going. We do have this basic dashboard that's sort of back site. And if I understand correctly, the dev team is going to be slowly migrating this kind of information over to the actual website here in the not too distant future, which again, just, is further value added. Why do we encourage you to subscribe to the dashboard? Those are going to be one of the paid features. So super excited about all of that developing, and I can't wait to hear Mr. Panicook's report. Mr. Panicook, are you here this morning? I don't really want to say hi to these good people.
We are. Hi, everyone.
There he is. So come on over to the after party, and you'll get a report from the ground from Breda, the center of the universe, and really very educational. Talking with Sjord, as I think he's probably one of the most knowledgeable computer experts I've ever talked to in my life. So I'm very thankful we have him on our team. So anyway, look forward to that shortly. As you can see at the top of the page here, we did just have our raffle. There was a little bit of confusion around the raffle, but God, isn't there always? But if I'm not mistaken, I thought this thing went the way it was supposed to go. But then after we had the raffle, we had a couple of people in the lounge go, "Where's my name? I didn't see my name on that wheel." So we tried our best. And frankly speaking, I haven't heard from the raffle winner yet. So by all means, if we don't hear from the raffle winner, I suppose we're just going to have another raffle. And then we'll make darn sure that everybody's on the list. I thought everybody was. I mean, we just try our best. And of course, you get what you pay for in this world, right? But this was our raffle winner from the weekend. So Joshua, if you are watching, if you are out there, you better get in touch with us, because there are a few other people that are highly motivated that would like for us to spin this wheel again. So I think we're giving, I think, until I think it's until like Wednesday or Thursday for sort of the school official cutoff with regard to further enrollment in the program. So if we haven't heard from Joshua, let's say by the weekend, then we will spin this wheel again. So Joshua, you better get off your butt. And if anybody happens to know Joshua and is a friend of his, just get poke him, because we'd hate to have to give his seat away and then find out somebody else won on the respin, and then we find out months later, oh well, it turns out he was in a Turkish prison or something, and he just got out on parole. Anyway, just joking. Anyway, so the point here is the school program is starting up here for the fall. And really, the whole point of the school program is to teach you how to do all of this, and how to build trading plans, and how to, vet setups. I mean, why is Brian trading the El Tangonator setup? And, what are the criteria that he finds to try and hunt high probability setups? It was actually interesting. I was a little surprised, to be perfectly honest with you, I was a little surprised when I was listening to the Top Step guys. They were a little bit sloppy in their trading, to be honest with you. And they were, the guy that owns the place, he's just like, oh, I think I'm going to go short here. This feels like a good level. And boom, he got stopped out in a heartbeat. That was just like, wow, that surprised me. Johnny Hoagland, actually, Chris was also in the call this morning, and Mr. Hoagland actually had a dress shirt and a tie on this morning. It was like, wow. And everybody was like, what the hell? What's going on with John? So anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. But John did put on a half decent short. So I was pretty impressed. John hasn't lost his touch. So anyway, the point of the matter here is that was my old prop firm. I would love for all of you to get to the point where you can go to the prop firm and get funded and start trading away with their money or even use your own capital. It is a very good way. The one thing I will say about using a prop firm is a very good way to cut your teeth. It's a little bit lower anxiety because you're risking other people's money. And I think they're charging something like $50 or something to actually participate in the program. And just sitting and listening to their morning call, frankly speaking, I think that's worth $50 alone. It was great to see the whole crew again this morning. So, point of the matter here is the whole reason why we built the school program was to enable you to actually create a document like this and get out there and start trading and making money from trading, as well as things like what are your daily checklists, I in fact even in this particular plan, I've even set up a demon finder. So if I can't control my behavior, I got to make sure to be very darn sure to track where it is I'm screwing up, because this is prime time, folks. So anyway, it's good to see, and it felt really good to just sort of get going on that. So point of the matter here is, you want to learn all of this. You want to get into the rhythm of how to hunt trade setups and, of course, how to manage your behavior. Our new school term, where's that page? Starts here in 5 days and 13 hours. So I would strongly suggest you get off your butt and get registered so that we can help change your life for the rest of your life. All right, so I was asked to talk a little bit about the school program coming up here. I suppose getting into sort of the routine coming back after the break. They always say that right after a holiday weekend and stuff, markets are kind of screwy. I've cautioned you, of course, lots about what do you want to read too much into what you see right, first day from trading, and then also what happens to Bitcoin usually through holiday weekends. So believe it or not, what I saw in the market today did not surprise me one bit. What I went through, first and foremost, what were the news headlines? I don't even know whether it's really that big of a driver. But actually, it's interesting when you go onto the trading economics page right now. The headline here is oil price rises on supply cut extensions. Is this the chicken or I guess the tail and the dog? I mean, I don't know how you can include Russia. Russia theoretically has their oil price capped right now. So I'm not quite sure how that factors into the equation. But Saudi Arabia themselves said that they were going to continue sort of curtailing their production of oil. But the bottom line here, and I thought this was interesting, is that really when I woke up first thing this morning, the talk was just about how China continues to unwind. It is interesting in this, though, that you wonder whether now this maybe like a buy the rumor, sell the news, or maybe this is actually a sell the rumor, buy the news scenario. It's interesting how Japan actually was up about 1/3% on the day. So relatively positive. And the Sensex, I think that's another Asian index. It was up again, another about 1/4%. It's interesting to see that this Shanghai index was down about 0.7% there. So a little bit of a mixed bag. Australia down a hair. Australians decided that they were not going to raise interest rates anymore. And I would argue that actually the Asian economies should be very, very weak with all of the fallout from China here recently. Also, did notice when I was looking at the rags later on this morning, uh, the euro area producer prices are falling the most in 15 years. Geez, 14 years. That theoretically should be deflationary. And yet, interesting enough, Eurozone inflation expectation rise for the medium term. And I suppose we'll hear from Seward here in the after party. He's sort of a great, reporter on the ground over there in Europe. And the poor guy, I mean, God, constantly prices going up, taxes going up, just try and screw the public as much as possible from 20 different directions. Life's a bit challenging for the Europeans, that's for sure. So Europe is kind of floundering here a little bit. You can see France off just a hair. Germany was up just a hair. Great Britain up just a hair. I mean, not really like meltdown kind of market. It looks to me like almost everybody probably were waiting for the Americans to come out after their holiday weekend and sort of what are they thinking? Um, so when we looked at the data sort of further on, keep in mind, didn't have a lot of actual econs coming out today. So if we actually look at the actual calendar itself, you can see it's a pretty light day. The only thing that we had coming out here this morning was factory orders. Other than that, I mean, almost a dead news day out of North America. So I get the impression that it's sort of like the pros have come back from the Hamptons. There's a lot of position squaring. I did notice that the market was actually pretty soft to start the day out. If we look at the FinViz, you can see Dow right out of the gate ran into some selling. NASDAQ right out of the gate, same thing. Obviously, the ES is sort of a combination of both of these. And you can even see the Russell 2000 right out of the gate was down. I mean, that's a pretty big number. Remember, we saw last week, though, that the Russell 2000 was up, and it was kind of a head scratcher. Why on earth is a Russell 2000 up? So, if anything, it looks like it's playing catch up back to the downside. And then, if we actually look at sort of the broader sort of market carpet, the only thing that's moving up today is Allen, and even some of the bigger, sexy names. They're not really rocking and rolling. A little bit of positive there for Meta and Microsoft, but even the big darlings, Nvidia, Amazon stuff, they're actually down on the day. So I couldn't quite figure out what the hell's going on with the Nasdaq. That was a little surprising to see that rally sort of pop up out of nowhere. Is it all Tesla? I don't think so. When we look at the stocks, you can see Amazon. Yeah, that's not really happy. Google, he backed off a bit. Nvidia backing off, actually inside bar confirmed, and that's a bearish engulfing bar there from Friday. The S&P 500, the spiders actually gapped lower here this morning. You can see there's the NASDAQ. It's trying to carve out some sort of fractal top. I would imagine if we finish the day like this, if we get to move through this low tomorrow on the NASDAQ, that will dip us back below this trend line. We're probably going to get a serious test, maybe even fill in that gap. So keep an eye out here for the NASDAQ, right? That seems to be the key. If this thing can firm up and just go sideways a little bit, you might see trend continuation there. And probably who is it that's is strong and interesting how these guys all down here seem to be relatively happy. Apple still has to fill in its gap. It's actually missing. There's still a bit of a hole here. So I wouldn't be surprised if Apple actually works a bit higher here, which is probably one of the reasons why NASDAQ is a bit firmer. There's that Meta. We said it was up slightly. It's interesting how Meta's got this big W working now. And of course, anytime we see big W's, we have to start thinking things like Foggenbaums. So do we get a stab up top here on Meta over the next month or two? I wouldn't put it past them. We'll see. I don't know whether we've really accepted above here or not. But the writing's on the walls. Be interesting actually to see if there's any new FA drivers. I guess the next FA driver is a long way away from Meta. So I'm not quite sure what to make out of this, guy. It's a little bit of a surprise, but I suppose you can start to think like bullish bots. If we just did like A to B, I don't know whether we use this low or not, but just for the purposes of this conversation. Yeah, we'll do our bot setup, boom, boom, right? So we have done 33%. And do we get 3 higher lows now to frame along? So if we do bot trades, boom, there we go. Interesting how 25 is setting up here. So we've got 1 low, we've got 2 lows. If we get another low in here, well, you can see 4.669s and a tag of that trend line from the other side. Get ready, folks. There might be fireworks here. Yeah. Oh, geez. We already run out of time. God, that sure goes quick, eh? All right. So I'm just sort of sitting here scratching my head going, what the hell is driving the market? And, I suppose Microsoft too, same sort of thing. Is it trying to put in a double bottom here? And if it is that fog and balmy and all that kind of fun talk? Chaos theory, there's 2.618. And actually like that because you can see there's a nice little gap right there, a whole bunch of trap bulls right there that would love release. So that makes sense. We see some chaos come in there. So there are some names in Techland that are pointing higher here, and I think that's what's driving this Nasdaq. As I said, the broader market, the Dow's actually down. The S&P as a proxy of everything is actually negative, and the Russell 2000 can't get out of its own way here today. It's trying to bottom, but it just can't catch a bid. So maybe an interesting commentary on coming right out of the gate here after the holiday weekend. And of course, all the pros coming back from summer vacation. What do we got coming up down or coming up? How do we say this? What do we got coming down the pike? As we sort of said, the Saudi Arabians and Russians, I think that's sort of your fundamental driver. But I have been pointing out, especially through the weekend, and it might be sort of like, well, people are anticipating that they were going to do this. So as a result, sort of buy the rumor kind of idea. But I was tweeting out and stuff that it looked to me like oil did want to move higher here. So not really a big surprise in that regard. Where is my spreadsheet? I guess here it is here. So, the crude market itself at an interesting inflection point. This was a new high here. So by definition, we should have expected this high to be tested. It's interesting how it did come in at a 4.669. And indeed, we popped up, and later on in the morning, we actually traded up to that ATR level. And that ATR level was just an absolute fantastic little shorting window, which, as I said, was that trade first thing this morning in prop land. Oh, that's not what I want. What do I want? Where's the chart I want? This one. So if we actually look at that 4-hour chart, interesting. Now we're putting in a big doji right off of that. So we did pop up through the top. And actually what I like about this, I didn't like here because there just wasn't any divs that were forming down here. So I couldn't really take anything. But now you can see, oh boy, we're getting a bunch of div signals. Could we work our way a bit higher up into these ABCDs? Maybe. For now, I'm not really doing anything here. I'm just going to leave this alone. Just let it settle down. Interesting to see the gold market coming off here smartly. Of course, this should be an inflation proxy. So right out of the gate, actually interesting. We're coming up into ATR levels now. But right out of the gate, coming back from the summer break, interesting how they decided to sell the gold off here first thing this morning. Also notice too that it's supposed to on the European woes, we saw that the U.S. dollar index moving up smartly, euro getting absolutely smashed, and Japanese yen getting smashed. So China as an Asian proxy, nobody wants their money there. Germany, producer prices falling to 14-year lows. Sentiment in Europe rather weak. I mean, like I said, we'll hear from Stuart what he's seeing on the ground there. Euro weak, so everybody's piling into the US dollar in North America, which, I mean, we're not allowed to chase up markets. Is it an idea maybe to start thinking about some sort of M top coming in here? Do we have any divs forming up top here? Try and look for that reversal. And that does kind of make sense, right? Because gold moves opposite to crude or US dollar. Sorry. It also moves opposite to crude, but that's another conversation. We did M top here, and I suppose you could even do things like draw Feigenbaum levels. So there's 2.618 off of that M. It's a really ugly one though, eh? And if anything, this is a classic diamond pattern with that huge middle of the diamond right there. I like the idea of the market coming into ATR, coming into this trend channel support, coming into this tail, and releasing all of these trap bears down in here. So over the next day or so, I do actually like the idea of us, thinking about some sort of pivot here in the gold market back to the upside, maybe rally back into moving average resistance, and the crude oil market calming down here a little bit. That looks like it's gone a little too far too fast. And of course, are we starting to paint divs up here? And if we are at ATR level, so if we start emming out here, I could actually think about market having to come back down. So I suppose we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. In the near term, at worst, I probably think that maybe this is carving out some sort of head and shoulders. And one thing actually I did notice here this morning, which really caught my eye, was uranium seems to be very, very happy here. This was a pick by one of our stock pickers. Actually, the first contest, remember the raffle I was talking about? This guy here, the first raffle winner a million years ago at TRI, David O. He's now the quarterback of our stock pickers club. We'll have a stock pickers club meeting tonight. And actually, our options presenter from last Friday, I'd love to get you in here, Mike D. If you could come into the stock pickers club. I think I saw you set up on Discord. We just have to get you added to that SOF room. But anyway, the point of the matter here, this was one of David's picks, and this thing just looks sexier than sex. So I'm nice and happy that I got long off that double bottom. Probably near-term targets are going to be just to trade up against these highs, release all these trap bulls up here. That just makes common sense. And you can see my ultimate objective is a stab up into 4669s, which probably also equate to things like fib levels. If we go something like that, there we go, 50% right on the nose. So I'm looking for a stab up top here. And if I'm really lucky, because I got in right around $2, if I can let half of it go at $4, I absolutely love to establish those risk-free trades. So super pleased to see that. And if there was like a chart of the day, you can't buy that now. But if you were interested and you wanted to join us, if you drew a reload zone off of this range down to here, notice there is the reload zone, which is going to line up with basically a Wyckoff check of the original double bottom. And there's a nice tail in there, a whole bunch of trap players that would love to get released. So it kind of makes sense. Don't chase, work stink bid if you want to join us, if you like the uranium space. I'll leave that up to you. Suppose the last thing we should just touch on here, we're coming into a half an hour, so we'll make this relatively quick. We are still playing at this neckline here of this massive head and shoulders pattern on Bitcoin. Last week was nothing more than just a big ass head fake, and it turned into a shooting star. But at the same time, too, you know that there are a ton of trap bulls in this wick. So any kind of counter trend rally that will give them release, and you might see that happen. It wouldn't be outlandish. And you can also see the moving averages are actually starting to cross here. And this is getting a little dangerous for the trend of Bitcoin now. As you can see, I've noted trapped bulls. So there's going to be a lot of supply of Bitcoin now. Anybody who got sucked into buying that pump last week, notice there are the moving averages, and this is starting to get scary here, right? So the fast moving average sitting 522, slow moving average sitting 503. So they haven't crossed yet. And probably if we really zoom in on this, you'll probably be able to see that. And really, the bottom line here is if this market moves to new lows, you can see there's fast moving average is still above the slow moving average. But if we roll over and we break to new lows here, that probably is going to force that fast moving average to cross down here. So we're at a real watershed moment here for Bitcoin. If we puke out and we lose this shooting star low, then I think we're due for probably more correction. Having said that, I would have bet that we were going to hold these lows and rally back up to make some sort of head and shoulders top here. So frankly speaking, I'm a little surprised at how weak Bitcoin price is. But anyway, it is what it is. If we look at the lower time frames, we do have this nasty bear ABCD just floating out here. It's interesting how we never did rally back to 38.2s though. So maybe this is a little bit premature. As you can see from the note, and this is what I put out on these weekly posts and stuff, is for me to actually turn bullish here, I've got to see this thing W out on the other side of this trend line. So we were rejected violently off of that trend line last night. We came into the Asian session, of course, China, blah, blah, blah. You know the story. And interesting how they dumped it into candle body low levels there and then just stopped the selling. So, another great testament to candle body lows. Working its way up, we have broken the trend line. You can even see on the trend line break, we put in a doji. So really, it's just a question of right now, can we go and put in some sort of W structure on the other side of this trend line? You can see what they did. They broke the trend line, they pulled it back, they rallied it all the way up top. What I'd like to see is some sort of test of that low and then turn it back up. If we get that, then I think actually you're going to have decent tradable signal. I think Chris is playing the futures, and I think actually he got a long signal. So way to go, Chris, off of the futures market. I suppose there is a bit of a fractal bottom there to work with. This is still a little bit early for a guy like me. Chris is a bit more aggressive. So rock and roll, Chris. Fingers crossed for you. I think I still need to see some bullish structure here for him before I can get too bullish. So there's sort of your market summary. As I said, I don't know whether we have anybody really going crazy here today. The good part about it, of course, Jord is sort of our crypto investor expert, and he does have a basket of cryptos that he likes that he is investing for us. So I'd love to get that kind of an update report from him in the after party. You can see there's a couple names that are putting on sizable percentage moves. We all like those W's. So you can see where I did my initial purchase. Maybe I should go and buy a little bit more of that guy, but it's if I was looking at crypto right now, I would say, this thing sure looks like it wants to bottom. Having said that, you can't really put the cart before the horse. Can I please get this bullish structure on the other side of the trend line? And then we can actually start thinking about serious moves back up. And we're kind of flirting with a really dangerous area. I'd really like to see some green here before I can actually go, okay, it looks like we dodged a bullet here. So stay tuned, folks. It's still a little bit dicey. All right, so if anything, I think I'll probably leave it at that for the time being. Slow and steady wins the race, as I had said there earlier. If you are looking for guidance on how to build a trading plan that really reflects you as a person, whoops, I've been signed out. Get out of there. You don't belong there. Then consider joining our education program. And really, my goal in the education program is just really to furnish you with something like this so that you understand completely all of the different components here. You understand how actual setups work, 3 unrelated reasons for trade. You understand risk management, so you can go and do things like get funded at prop firms. The school program starts in about 5 days. This is your sort of final warning. And I'll probably mention this through the latter part of the week that, if you want to get yourself ready for the coming bull, which in crypto, I think probably starts over the next year. I don't think that there's like a major, oh my God, you got to go out and buy everything right now. I'm leery. I still think that we need to do a little bit more consolidation. Trying to find the Twitter feed, but it doesn't look like I have it on here. Anyway, I was going to show you that Twitter tweet and stuff about the weekly charts just to take us on out of here. Let's see if I can just quickly find that for you. Was that over here? Oh, where is Twitter? Nope, it's not in any of that stuff. How many tabs do I have open? Geez, sometimes I'm like Eddie. I've got 5 million tabs open and I can't find anything. I just don't know where the hell it is. All right. So anyway, we'll just go, there you go. Twitter. All I have to do is type in, I suppose all I have to do is type in Alan, right? Anyway, just to finish off this thought, just understand that I think that we are in sort of the latter stages of a 2-year consolidation. And if anything, I'm actually starting to hear people talking about there will be no new highs on Bitcoin. And that's it. And that's exactly what I want to hear. What I want to hear through this window is Bitcoin's going to zero. That's exactly what I want to hear. So keep bringing that bearish talk. Yes, we probably should get price knocked down here over the next few months. Let's put in some sort of panic dump low. Let's have all the public talking about how Bitcoin's going to zero. And I'm going to be using that window to slowly fill up my little old lady basket of cryptos that I've been buying away here. You saw just one of the names, that NKN that I bought through the spring. TRI is going to be accumulating. If you're interested in what are the investment, like putting some serious money to work, maybe pop on over and have a listen to what Mr. Panicook's going to tell us here shortly in his weekly report of what he's doing in the market. Regardless, I mean, you see what happens following these happening events. Maybe it doesn't look like this. Maybe it's going to look like the 14-15 cycle. I don't know. I'm not really in the business of predicting the future, but what I will say is that once we get on the other side of the happening event, you've kind of missed your opportunity. I mean, maybe this is the environment that we're in right now. Over this next 6-month period, this is when you got to start picking your names, placing your bets, and getting yourself ready to go. And if you need help doing that, that's the whole point of the education program. So there's your sales pitch. The program works. And just as I showed you, I mean, this happens to be a prop firm trading plan. Well, now I've lost it again. But it doesn't really matter what the hell you're doing in the market. You need to plan and you need to act like a professional. So it's my privilege to show you how to do it, but I can lead you to the water, but I can't make you eat peanut butter, as the old Ross Perot saying goes. All right. I think I'll leave the rant at that for today. I hope you enjoyed the information. Hopefully I gave you something of value through all that. Let's head on over to Panacook Land and have fun with Mr. Stewart. All the best. The only thing left Brian to say is bye for now.